family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
Welcome into Golazo Matchnight, our coverage of the 2026 World Cup. Yet another shocking result as Saudi Arabia find a way to get a draw against favored Uruguay. We've seen this team do this before in previous World Cups. They do it again against Uruguay, getting a point and shocking the world with a big result on match day one. Welcome in to our studios alongside USMNT World Cup legend Jermaine Jones, Sierra Leone international, my man, Mike Lahoud. We are in the studio. I'm Stefano Fusaro. We're enjoying what is an incredible World Cup and what was an incredible game between Saudi Arabia and Uruguay. And boys, I need to get your thoughts because, of course, coming into this game, Uruguay clearly favored. And once again, just like Saudi Arabia was in the last World Cup, clearly favored against, clearly not the favorite against Argentina. And they come into this game, get that first goal, really put Uruguay under pressure. Uruguay dominate the second half, can only get the equalizing goal, can't get the winner. What were your thoughts on this match? Again, a shocker, another draw today, 1-1.
Yeah, for sure. It's a shocker, especially for Uruguay, right? When you look at, I think they had 60-70% in the ball in this game, and they were trying, and then you're running the game behind. Saudi Arabia goes up with 1-0 and you have to come back. But I think if you watch the whole game, you will clearly see that Uruguay was the better team. This is why I think that 1-1 is a loss for Uruguay and a win for Saudi Arabia. Because I asked myself then in phases, okay, you can say the goalkeeper had some good saves, but still something was missing in the end. And I wished to see Uruguay would have somebody like Forlan in the front, like a real striker, because there was a lot of chances, but at the end we were not able to see that they put him away.
Yeah, we were talking about this at halftime of there's some questions to be asked about the manager. I'm a big believer in, Jermaine, you've been there at this very venue, the World Cup, that managers set you up for success. Players, they execute what the manager sets you up for, but the manager comes up with a philosophy. And today, Marcelo Bielsa let the entire nation of Uruguay down with some of his lineup selections. I said it before, it is a massive gamble to take on Darwin Núñez, a Darwin Núñez that during World Cup qualifiers, in the first half of it, he was the man. He couldn't stop scoring. But form is everything going into an international tournament. There's certain players that if they're not playing well for club football, but they're doing the business for the national team, you trust that. When you've done neither in a long time, that's on Bielsa for me. In the first half, I thought Uruguay wasted 45 minutes of everyone from their nation's time. But in the second half, much better. I'm with you, Jermaine. Massive opportunity missed.
And it's interesting you say that, Mike, because our next guest that is going to join us now is former Uruguay international, former Premier League manager, Gus Poyet. And Gus, I heard you talk about on our shows earlier in the day before this match that you were a little bit skeptical about Bielsa coming with two strikers, something he hadn't done in this entire cycle in World Cup qualifying. And then it comes out that those first 45 minutes, they struggled. What were your thoughts on that specifically? And, of course, on Uruguay's game as a whole?
Well, yes, I was skeptical because it's the first time. It's very strange. I try to analyze as a coach, you know, that you've been playing in a certain way for 2 years. And your first World Cup match, you change a little bit the system to have a little bit more presence. But that presence didn't allow you to have the combination of the offensive action for those two players to be in the box. Without any doubt, he realized that's a good sign. He realized it straight away because he took Darwin Núñez at halftime off, which it was a big call as well. So I would say I agree with you. I was listening to your comments. We lost 45 minutes. We gave away 45 minutes, and on top of that, we gave away the goal. We had 5 or 10 very bad minutes defending corners. And after that, yes, second half it was the Uruguay that we want to see, the intensity of Marcelo Bielsa, the shape, the positioning of Valverde. So, yeah, we lost a great opportunity to be top of the group today.
Gus, it's a pleasure to have you on. I know that this one pains you just looking at your reaction, and I think you're right to have that sort of reaction because it's a disappointing result. Obviously, you look back to what happened last World Cup, opening match of the group, disappointing result against Korea, which ends in a draw. But I want you to expand a bit more on what you saw tactically. We were talking about this at halftime, where we were gobsmacked, and I've never used that word before on this network, so bear with me. We were just shocked that Fede Valverde was playing as a right midfielder and not centrally, and it just seemed like when he went central, and players like you have Juan Sanabria that came in at left full back, the game changed, and also Agustin Conobia that came in as well. It just, everything seemed to shift and change.
Yes, look, for you to understand, we were always, I think you know, but just to comment it, we were always a defensive side. Uruguay history, very strong, to get beat, many defending players, and we were always having that kind of strikers of offensive players that will do something for us, the Forlan, Suarez, Cavani, and company. This particular group of players in the last 4 or 5 years, our best or our strength or our most important players are in midfield. Okay, Ugarte is not playing a lot in Man United, but he's a very important player for us. Bentancur, we all know. And what can I say about Federico Valverde? So everybody was setting up. Now, wherever way you want to play, those 3 midfielders are going to be in the middle, like you're just saying, okay? And no stage, anyone was thinking that maybe Valverde was playing the right. Now, the problem was, I think, those 3 or 4 games that Valverde played on the right with Alexander Arnold at Real Madrid, and he scored a few goals. And because we struggled for goals, and we didn't have the number 10 that Marcelo Bielsa wanted to play, that normally is De La Cruz, he came on at the end, but Arrascaeta injured, he tried something different. That's why he didn't play friendly games. He was hiding the shape, but unfortunately it didn't work. The good news, if it's something to take away, is we had a great second half and we drew the game. Because I have to say, after 75 minutes, I was worried about losing this game.
Clearly a concern going in, but you mentioned that you take that now, going into the second game of the group stage. You take that second half of your Marcelo Bielsa and you understand what worked. You expect them to now make changes going into that game to start the match for the second group stage game?
100%. I got no doubt. It won't repeat the first 11 of today. It will change completely. Also, we show. I mean, if you watch the game, if we watch the game of Spain, probably watch it live today. He will, he needs quick players on the flanks. Either Agustin Canobio, Brian Rodriguez came on as well. Araujo didn't do too bad. They got Pelistri just in case. So we need those wingers to create chances. Nowadays in football, most of the teams, they get organized. Many people's behind the ball. And if you don't have a 1v1 situation, you are not going to create. And that was the first half. Everybody 2 feet, everybody static, no movements, no one-to-one situations. And after the changes, everything went better. So probably taking that into the second game, if we can't take the way we finish, it's gonna be a good result.
I have a question to Nunez, where when you look at the first half, he had maybe touched the ball 8 times in the first half. And you mentioned already before there's some legends, for especially the ones in front with Forlan and Suarez. You think that for him there's so much pressure that he maybe can handle that?
Oh, good question. I don't know if it's a pressure. I think he's very disappointed with himself because he made a very strong decision to leave Liverpool and go into Saudi. After playing well and scoring, the team decided to sign Benzema, and he's out of the league games because he cannot play because one foreigner needed to go out, and probably was preparing himself for the World Cup. But we all know, boys, how many times you heard in football, he's missing football. And definitely he showed today that he's missing playing football. And football is about games. And in top of that, in the 2 friendlies in March, Marcelo Bielsa didn't play him, didn't start him. And then we didn't play friendly games. So if it's one play that he lose that possibility of getting fit specifically for the World Cup, it was Darwin Núñez. And knowing him a little bit, I know him a little bit. I met him once in Liverpool. it's going to be bad today. He's going to feel destroyed because, he had a great opportunity to show that he was the number 9. It didn't work for him. And when the coach changed, he left the other striker on, Federico Viñas. We did very well for me today. He was one of our best players in attacking. And he's out, and the team improves. So, we all know about football. You feel that maybe you were the problem as well.
Yeah, it's just another player I think about that probably will be breathing a sigh of relief. You think of what he's meant from 2010 to present day. Fernando Muslera, poor goalkeeping that led to the goal as well, Gus, and he'll be breathing a sigh of relief that his team bailed him out. But let's move away from the negativity because Uruguay did salvage something out of this game. If not, we definitely have a tougher conversation. Who were some other players, maybe just one player? You mentioned Viñas, but who was someone else that you saw, whether starting or coming in the second half, that you said, okay, they stepped up?
Look, I really like Canovio. I think it was very direct. Sanabria surprised me greatly because it was no in the prediction of being playing. As you know, Matias Oliveira in Napoli play on the left full back. Here he's playing central defender. That allowed Federico Viñas to play on the left, and then now Sanabria. So we got options in there. I like the attitude. Probably you didn't notice. Brian Rodriguez, after the first shot, he talked to one Uruguayan players and reading his lips, he said to him, "Give it to me, I'm 1v1. Give it to me." He wanted the ball. He wanted to go 1v1. He wanted to create chances. And that's the place that we need. Why? Because in the middle we have Bentancur, Valverde, Ugarte. No changes. But why? We need those kind of players that they can take on play. So it was. Listen, I'm disappointed with the result. I didn't see too much between Spain and Cabo Verde today. Okay, Cabo Verde defended, but Spain missed as well those opportunities. So the group at the moment is flat, completely flat. Everybody 1 point. The 4 teams needs to improve in the second game.
Well, Uruguay clearly need to score first. They've they've failed to win their last 19 World Cup matches where they've conceded first. So getting that first goal will be huge for Uruguay in the next game. Gus Poyet, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure.
We're going to take a quick break. When we return, we're going to talk a little bit more about Saudi Arabia and how they were able to salvage a point in this match against Uruguay.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days. With the entire nation hunting you down. The grand prize, $1 billion! Win this game. Change your family's life forever. Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in 2 worlds.
There are others. But they're not like us. We need to get out of here. Now. Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And we live the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies. Now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
I lost my dad and my aunt.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money.
What's the plan here?
Gonna blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back to Golazo Match Night. We are recapping a 1-1 draw between Saudi Arabia and Uruguay. Now, everyone in that group currently sitting with 1 point after match day 1. Not exactly what we were expecting in this group right here with Spain, the World Cup betting favorites coming into the tournament after that result against Cabo Verde. And of course now the draw between Uruguay and Saudi Arabia, where Uruguay had to play an incredible second half to get back into this game and get that equalizer. Saudi Arabia was much better in the first 45 minutes. Let's break this down, boys. This Saudi Arabia side, they came out obviously a bit on the back foot against Uruguay to start. The hydration break happens, the momentum shifts, they get the goal. You have to say, let's start with that first half. Jermaine, a fantastic first half from them. Did what they had to, defended well, and they take advantage of an opportunity and a mistake from the goalkeeper. What did you think of them in that first half?
I think the game was an open game, right? Uruguay had, of course, control of the game, but Saudi Arabia was always on the edge, always set pieces, and then they waited for the moment. And then they got the moment after the water break, and they scored. And I think the first half was open. The question is then what happened in the second half, right? So, and that's something for me, and I think you can relate to that too. It's like when you stand on the field and you defend and defend and defend, and you don't get like that freedom to go forward, then you at one point you know that this will go south at one point, you know? And especially in like a team like Uruguay, you know they have the quality going forward. So, and I don't understand. When I look at it now, go back then and look at the second half from Saudi Arabia, even with the quality they have, and they always showed it for a little bit, then I ask myself, why not more? Why not go more for have the trust in each other, in the belief that you can hurt Uruguay?
Yeah, first and foremost, I want to congratulate the Saudi manager, Georgios Diniz, because he only had a few weeks to put this team together. So we have to put that in the context that in just a few weeks' time, one of the favorites to advance in the group, you just got to draw. You were maybe 8 or 10 minutes away from a historic moment yet again in back-to-back World Cups. So I always want to start with that positive before we get into the weeds and some of the details. Jermaine, I'm with you. In the first half, they smelled blood in the water, especially before halftime. We were looking at each other, and I think I said it, there's a goal coming. Because you could see Uruguay gave them their best punch, and they just couldn't figure out the low block of Saudi Arabia. And now, something you said about being on the field, I was having flashbacks, and I played for a small nation. I didn't play for the United States, but I was on the receiving end of teams who you were taking the lead, and with Sierra Leone, we played against Egypt, and Egypt is a big team in Africa. We would take the lead against Egypt, and it was all about who's your outlet when you have the lead. For me, one player that just vanished completely in the second half, and I think he was a big reason why Saudi Arabia invited more and more pressure, was their captain, Sarim Al-Dawsari. 4 years ago, the hero of the moment against Argentina scores the winner. But I'm just going to say this. I question his commitment in that second half. It seemed like he was walking. He was a passenger. Jermaine, you know this. You were a leader on the field. I watched you against the likes of Portugal, against the likes of Ghana. That's where leaders step up, no? When you're under the cosh, when you can't get a hold of the ball. I didn't see that from him today. It felt like he was passing on responsibility to the rest of the team.
Yeah, but I don't know. I would go even in. You said the coach made a good choice and made some good decisions. But I will ask myself too. Like if you scored and you go 1-0 up, then not only the captain on the field has to take responsibility. It's like too that if you go as a signal, just if I'm at Uruguay and I look at the team and I see you going straight in the 5 and you're sitting deep, that is a signal for me that you don't really want to come out. Because the way going out forward is so much farther. And you have, especially if you have somebody in front, like the captain, their main star, he would not chase the ball down there. He would not go deep and run it in space alone. So as Uruguay, you will get every time you get the ball and you come in and wave again and you wave again. And so, and I think that was the issue that Saudi Arabia had. They had at one point no outlet anymore to get rest. It was just one ball next from Uruguay, and it was just a matter of time that Uruguay will score.
Giorgio Sinis now has this video of this game to go and study and to see where he can get better, because now they have an opportunity now in this group where, of course, everyone's expecting Spain and Uruguay to come out of. But now you have more, obviously, with the third-place team. You have now an opportunity for Saudi Arabia. They do play Spain next, which is obviously tough. You imagine that Spain will come out just chomping at the bits to be able to get a result. They need a response. Saudi Arabia now has an opportunity, though, because then they face Cabo Verde. What needs to change from what you saw today? A good performance, but room to improve, Mike. What needs to change now for them to have an opportunity to advance out of this group?
Yeah, I mean, you have an opportunity when you have a good goalkeeper. We saw that with Cabo Verde, and this Saudi side, they have a good goalkeeper in Mohamed Alouais. 8 saves on the day, stood on his head. This seemed like today was the day of goalkeepers, Jermaine, and just the heroics. He really saved them from not even squandering a 1-0 lead, but this could have easily been 2 or 3-1 Uruguay on another day. Now, I was looking at just some of the players through the ranks, and one player that I think has to play the game of his life for Saudi Arabia and the Green Falcons is Mohamed Kano. When Saudi Arabia were on the front foot, he was the one dictating play. He was the one winning possession in midfield, hitting the diagonals out, winning the transition battle. And we saw with Cabo Verde that once they had this belief in midfield, they defended the low block, but then they grew in confidence. And once you do that, when you're one of the minnows, your midfield starts getting control, you start getting the sense of belief, then that becomes contagious throughout the team. So he's one player that I really think this next match is made for.
When you look at this Saudi Arabia team now, playing the way that they played, we saw Spain struggle against the low block in Cabo Verde. Do they come out again and try the low block against Spain, or is that asking for trouble against a team that will eventually get on the score sheet with Spain's quality?
I hope for them they don't do it. Okay. Let's say it this way, because Cabo Verde, it worked, but it's we all know Spain. So and I don't think you will see a second game like that. So in Spain has to win. So and they will come out and they will fly. But I think too, Spain has to be careful, because if Saudi Arabia plays the football with trust and belief that they can score and they can play forward, they have some good individual quality in their team. So in Spain too, so it will be interesting to see who has the trust in himself more to say, you know what, Spain, of course, they will come, but has Saudi Arabia the trust in itself to say, we don't sit just back. We want to play soccer, because you have to take something out of this game now from Uruguay. Yeah. And there we go back and they say, we made maybe a mistake going back in the low block instead attacking and going forward. Because if you look at the game and maybe they're going back now into the hotel, look at the game and say, we had actually way more chances. Why are we sitting back the whole time? And maybe the coach will ask himself too, why we don't play more forward? Why we don't have the trust? Because if we maybe did that, we maybe had the points and get the second goal. So. And I think that's the mindset they should go into the Spain game.
Saudi Arabia content with 8 points against Uruguay, and they're really showing face for all the AFC teams so far in this 2026 World Cup. South Korea, obviously, with a massive win against Czechia, 1-1 draw for Qatar, late on against Switzerland. Australia with a incredible performance against Turkey, 2-0. Japan with a comeback, one of probably the game of the tournament so far against the Netherlands, 2-2 draw. And now, as we mentioned, Saudi Arabia getting that point against Uruguay. We're going to take a quick break. We have more coverage of the 2026 World Cup when we return.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days. But the entire nation hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion!
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in two worlds.
There are others. They're not like us. We need to get out of here now. Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Tell me, can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
I lost my dad and my aunt.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money.
What's the plan here?
Gonna blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back to Golazo Matchnight, our coverage of the 2026 World Cup. Earlier in the day, another interesting result. Belgium and Egypt playing to a 1-1 draw. Of course, Belgium come in as the favorites, but again, European teams struggling a bit, and Egypt finding a way to get that result. We're going to listen in now to Egypt's goalkeeper, Mustafa Shobar.
We missed a lot of chances. We could score more, or we could have the 3 points and go back to Spokane. But at the end, you play against big national team, of course, big name Belgium, and it's a very important point in this group stage, I think, yes. I don't know, but I think that, like I said, we dominated the game from the first half. We could continue also to score the second goal and then secure ourselves. But at the end, this is football, it can happen. And again, we don't want to miss that we play against big name. So it's a good thing.
There's interesting comments there from the goalkeeper, because we would say, good result for Egypt, getting the draw against Belgium. Clearly, they thought they should have had more. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I think they'll be slightly disappointed with the fact that they didn't take their opportunities when they had them. There was a stint in the second half especially. I'd even actually go back and say maybe in the final 10 minutes of the first half where Egypt, they got the goal and they just grew in confidence. I loved what I saw from them defensively up until the Lukaku goal, because they were dispossessing Jeremy Doku. I thought Jeremy Doku looked frustrated. Kevin De Bruyne looked like he didn't know how to play football at times. It looked like he was still getting the rust off. But this is why the World Cup is the greatest stage on planet Earth when it comes to football, Jermaine. Because if you're a team and you have momentum, we saw it with Saudi Arabia, but probably to a bigger extent with Egypt, if you don't put some of the big boys away in just a flash, someone like Lukaku can come in and change the entire game and momentum.
Yeah, you were absolutely right, Mike. When you see that that Lukaku comes in and changes it, right? Like, but till then, were Egypt completely in control of the game. In the goalkeeper's right when he says, like, why we don't put more goals away, why we don't put our chances away, why we not getting us in that table maybe now on top, because you played against a Belgium team. So this is something we cannot forget too. It's a strong team, it's a good team, but it's good to see that, let's say this way, all the Europe's countries struggle right now. So, and it's good to see that even the African teams like now Egypt, that we see real good football. And that's something I really appreciate because it's an open game. And I like so far the tournament, how it played out with a lot of games.
Yeah, it is interesting from Belgian perspective as well. They need to clearly going to want to respond here because they're coming into this World Cup now with kind of a couple of players, veteran players, some younger players as well, and they expected to think a bit more. They ran into a team that was really going to play them hard in Egypt. I think the draw was a fair result, in my opinion, for both of these sides going into the game from what we saw on the pitch. Of course, we still have one more match to go here today, and it's Iran against New Zealand. But of course, Iran's path to its World Cup opener on U.S. soil has been anything but straightforward, as months of uncertainty driven by geopolitical tensions involving the United States that have cast a shadow over the team and their lives back home. One of the first teams to qualify for the tournament, Iran has also been unsettled by a series of changes imposed by organizers and, of course, the United States government. The team's training camp was relocated from Tucson, Arizona to Tijuana, Mexico after the conflict escalated, and some members of its staff have reportedly been denied visas. After finally arriving in California, Captain Mehdi Taremi summed it up best. He said, "We are here to play football, and football can always unite all factions. Our people, we love them inside or outside Iran. For many years, the country of Iran has been a united nation. We want to showcase that unity. We are here at the World Cup to bring joy to Iranians wherever they are. We, the players of the national team, play for every Iranian, whether in the diaspora or at home." And we look here at their timeline since the World Cup qualification. It's been a struggle. They've had to deal with a lot of issues, and it's very difficult as a footballer with dealing with everything going back home. Mike, having to deal with that much distraction, that much travel back and forth, and of course, everything that comes with that. How difficult is it for these players to actually just focus on what they do best, football?
Yeah, it's one of the toughest things, and I come from a country that was mired in civil war in Sierra Leone, and I grew up in a world at war. And so I feel very fortunate to be here in the United States, but I've been there as a player, maybe not when war was happening in my country. And let's talk about the elephant in the room and just facts. There is a war going on while the World Cup is happening. That is a fact. That is not an opinion. But from a human element, I was in Africa during World Cup qualifiers when Ebola broke out, and it broke out in West Africa, and it was terrifying. And I'll say this, you forget all about football for 1 second, and you just realize some of the little things in life. For me, I thought about my family members back home. I thought about my Uncle Habib, who I'm very close with, my grandparents, uncles, aunts, nephews, nieces, everyone, because I didn't know if they were going to see tomorrow. And that weighs on you every single second and every single moment until a ball was kicked. And now for us, it was really scary because we were seeing things like being in military compounds. We were seeing things like guns in and around our training facility. And unfortunately for us, the whole match was canceled. CAF was actually forcing us and trying to get us to forfeit our game. We were public enemy number one. And that is something no football nation, or no footballer, I should say, should ever have to deal with at a World Cup. Now, I want to talk about what Mehdi Taremi said. I'm a big fan of Mehdi Taremi. And this is the biggest thing I took away from that experience. It was the next match after that week, the next match after all the political stuff was sorted out in the background. The biggest relief was the thought of the joy we could bring to our nation and the joy I could bring specifically to my family. It's a big reminder that at the end of the day, football is bigger than just you as a player. It's bigger than the blockbuster goal that you can score at a World Cup, and it just means more. And this is why I love the World Cup, because in one moment, whether it's a goal line saving tackle, a penalty kick save, one moment can change everything for a nation. It definitely did for me and my family. It did for our national team. It did for our Sierra Leonean people. And I hope today, in just football terms, it could do the same for Iran.
It couldn't have been better said, Mike, really. And at this very moment, Iran will be able to put all that on the kind of on the back burner here and be able to focus on the football and at least a couple of hours of joy. And now we're going to get ready because we have to break this game down because Iran is going to try to win this game. And we have the lineups are already out because we are close to game time. So let's head over to the wall here. We got the lineups ready to go for Iran. And when you look at this, obviously we know Taremi being here, the captain of this team, the striker of this team. So he's going to be leading the line. What else do you like in this lineup for Iran?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be an Iranian side that's resolute at the back. We saw it in the 2022 World Cup. The first game aside, or the game against England aside, which they were dealing with things off the field. They were dealing with things, a revolution that was happening or pending revolution in their own country, and a lot of fear. But on the field, what I was really, really just inspired by was they got back to the basics. And this fella right here, in Khalizadeh, he is the leader of the back line. He brings the characteristics that you love in the defender. He's got just this robustness about his game. He's not afraid to get stuck into a tackle. And I think that his play and his leadership could have the domino effect to get into the midfield. Now, I'm a big fan of defensive midfielders. And Jermaine, I know as a fellow midfielder that you liked playing with defensive midfielders. I wish we actually could have played together. I think that would have been a good partnership, maybe when they invent a time machine. But Godos is a player that has the extra bit of quality to turn defense into attack. He's a great transition player. He has a footballing brain that he can see just the final way to passes, which is going to tee up the likes of Mehdi Taremi. He's a blockbuster player. He is their talisman. He's their difference maker. And this is a great opportunity for him to be an ambassador for his entire country.
Who else do you see in this lineup, obviously, for Iran here? Coming out to play against the New Zealand side that is also coming in, I think, a bit on the back foot. Do you see an opportunity here for Iran in this game to find 3 points and to get into this group?
Yeah, you can see that already. They have an idea with the block of a 4 and then another 4. That gives you maybe the freedom with the 2 in front, that they have more freedom to go in don't have to, focus so much on coming back. And maybe even Taremi, he gets the freedom more, and he will slide a little bit deeper behind him when they go forward. I think it's a solid 4 in the back, and then at the midfield. It would be interesting to see if they shifted around, maybe if they go a little bit in a 3 in the back. It would be interesting to see if the outside players go high with here in the midfield. We will see, I think, a little bit of shift. So one goes high as a 10 maybe. There's a lot you can do out of a 4-4-2. Yeah. So but I always say a lot of times against the ball it looks like that, but with the ball it will be a lot of changes, and I will be surprised to see what they do.
Let's take a look now at the 11 for New Zealand, their opponents. Of course, the name that's on everyone's mind is Tim Payne, because now he's the most famous footballer in the world, apparently. But still, obviously, we talk about Chris Wood at the top here. What do you like from this team?
Yeah, I like that it's built to defend for Chris Wood. And Chris Wood is probably one of the most famous people in the country of New Zealand. He is Mr. New Zealand, and he will be at this World Cup. But I like what I see at the back, and one player that you'll remember, Michael Boxall, remember him from Minnesota United? He's a mountain of a man, but I think his game is simplified when he wins the ball, and I played against him, where playing with the ball, and when he has time and space with the ball at his feet, he makes good decisions. When you put him under pressure, he can get rattled a bit. This is why Liberate Kakache is such an important player. Has the engine to get up and down. We remember him, has time in Serie A as well. We've seen him on our network here at the Golazo Network. So him being the outlet, going up and down, maybe Juice coming in, Juice being the outlet. But also, we cover the championship here on the Golazo Network. So Stamenic, who plays for Swansea City, his creativity and just his industry is going to be really, really helpful for the Kiwis. And of course, up top, we talk about Chris Wood, which we're going to do more in depth about what makes him special. But his relationship with Singh, if you're Singh, Jermaine, do you go and stay connected with him, almost like a second striker? Or you were a coach before. Do you keep him deeper so you keep that block of 3 and make a block of 5 against really compact and dangerous at times in transition around the inside?
Yeah, you could see it. It's based normally always you go 4-2-3-1, but I think it's in the game going forward it's a 4-3-3, right? That both outside guys slide higher especially in transition. It's really important in what the outside players do, how much they go high, because Wood is now isolated alone, and he would always have to fight against 2 guys in most of the time in the game. So it will be important what is the 3 guys doing behind him. When they find a way to go with him, attack going forward, and then you still have 2 guys who will sit in control the game, that if you lose the ball, that you always have protection. And but yeah, it will be interesting to see. When we talked about him, Wood, I think he is the main key. He's the player who can make the difference for them. And I think, we will see. I would say it's the game. They're 2 strikers.
Yeah. We're going to break down Chris Wood and also Taremi on the other side when we get back from this break. Real quick, 2 key players for both of these sides, Iran and New Zealand, coming up in the World Cup.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days. But the entire nation hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion.
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in two worlds.
There are others. But they're not like us. We need to get out of here. Now. Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
I lost my dad and my aunt.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money.
What's the plan here?
Gonna blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Has in support, Taremi on the move, and this is he. It's Taremi! What a counter that was!
Oh, Ross has dropped it straight at the feet of Wood, who gets it back here from Gibbs. Wood!
Yes!
Woody! Down, Chris Wood slots it home.
Here's Martins, in by Heza, and there's the goal for Mehdi Taremi.
Curls it in, high towards the back post. Wood goes up in the back post.
Oh, yes!
Again! Chris Wood, and he's volleyed it home!
Little flick on by Asmoon, real chance here, and finally the breakthrough to Remy.
Coyote, oh, what a ball that is! First time from Anderson, Chris Wood takes on his man and scores!
Two teams led by two star strikers, Mehdi Taremi for Iran, and of course Chris Wood for New Zealand. We see both veteran players with tons of goals, all-time international numbers, and they're going to be extremely important in this match. And Mike, you know how important number 9s are, and these two number 9s will be extremely important to both of their teams finding a way to get a result. Break them down for me. Why are they so important? How will they have success today?
Yeah, these are two number 9s who are going to be carrying the entire hope and the weight of their entire nations, and for good reason. They're kind of similar, Jermaine, and I'm going to ask you on the back end exactly why. So we're going to break down Chris Wood first, because I just love Chris Wood. I love everything he stands for. I love what he's meant to Nottingham Forest, but I love what he means to New Zealand. This is against Liverpool. I remember this, Monday Night Football. Virgil van Dijk caught like this. Chris Wood just sorting out his feet, and I love how just that little step like that, bang, and then we have the goal celebration like that. I just love it, love it, love it. But it's the small details that make the biggest of differences. And also, did I mention that he is world-class at taking penalties? This is in, the Europa League semifinal. Nottingham Forest, it's been decades since they've been here. Aston Villa, they ended up winning the competition. But bang, look at Emi Martinez, the best goalkeeper on the planet. On penalties, you have to put it pitch perfect. He can do this time and time again. He might get a penalty kick today. I'd love to see the odds for that. Maybe we'll ask our friend John Buckets what the odds are for that. Now, Chris Wood, he has such high footballing IQ, but I just love his positional awareness in the final third. We saw it on the play with Virgil van Dijk. I think we're going to see it tonight, where his just reinventing of his run, his sorting out of his feet, has great balance for a tall guy. He has this killer instinct.
And obviously now looking at Mehdi Taremi, because a different profile of striker completely for Iran, but an extremely important player, and again, the key for his team to have success.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget how awesome he was for FC Porto, but we're going to remind you, in the Champions League, this is against Bayer Leverkusen. Leverkusen had 4 or 5 shots up until this moment, but keep an eye on this. This is patience, and patience is a virtue. We see so many strikers get caught offside in this. He recognizes how much space is there, but because he's patient and he times his run, he curls his run a bit, he cashes in on a big goal, and it's a second goal. But let's do it one better, because in the Champions League, cue the anthem, please. If you play Real Madrid, you have to come up with big moments. Mehdi Taremi actually came off the bench because he was nursing an injury. Keep an eye on this, because he gives about 5 yards of space. He now can see where the avenue is to run off the back shoulder of the opposing defender. If you give him an inch, or maybe 5 inches, he'll take a country mile. He can score a variety of goals, but the biggest thing I love is he is such a difference maker. And I would just love for both of these strikers to get on the goal sheet tonight, to get to write their name in history, because this is what this game deserves.
Jermaine, when you look at both of these strikers, the style that they play, what do you think can have more of an impact in a game, a massive game against the other team in this match?
I think what I saw straight away, I played defense a little bit too, and what I saw straight away, and you said it, is both of them play really, really good off the back of the defenders. So I think it's 2 different strikers. One is a little bit the bigger one, stronger, but in any way see both strikers still have the quality to punish you if you give them the chances. Like they don't need a lot of chances. So you can see clearly that they have different qualities, but then they're still finding the moments to put themselves in the positions to score goals. And that, I think the numbers of goals, what they've scored, it's proven even for the national team, right? So I think right now, when I had to make a bet for one, I will go with Woods.
It'll be interesting to see. He likes Wood. You like Taremi?
Yeah, I'm going to go Mehdi Taremi. Okay. There's just something about it. And when you look at just who he is chasing, this is the GOAT. Yeah. This is the GOAT of GOATs. Cristiano Ronaldo had to wait a long time to chase this record in Ali Dai. I remember watching Ali Dai in previous Asian Cups. Yes, we had Asian Cup on at the Lahoud household. Kind of rigged the TV maybe, but he's a hell of a player.
All right, he's on Taremi. You got Wood. What's that?
No, I wanted to say, like you mentioned, right, Ali Dai. Is this something that I'm too old because I played still against him?
There you go. So we got to break this tie because each of them liked one striker. Let's check in with John Buckets Eimer. He's got the bets. Which striker is he going to back? We'll be right back.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days. But the entire nation is hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion!
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in two worlds.
There are others. But they're not like us. We need to get out of here. Now. Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Tell me, can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
I lost my dad and my aunt.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money.
What's the plan here?
Gonna blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back to Golazo Matchnight. We're counting down to kickoff between Iran and New Zealand. It's been a rough day for bettors, especially with that Spain game. So someone's got to bring us back. So that's on you, John Buckets-Eimer. What are your bets for this game? We need to get back on track, man. The Spain game gave sportsbooks a whole lot of money today.
Yeah, let's not talk about Spain ever again, please, if you guys don't mind. Holy, that was a tough one. Listen, I still got 3 bets for us because no matter how many rough games you have, there's always a chance to bounce back. And this is what I'm looking at for this Iran versus New Zealand matchup. My first bet is Iran over 1.5 team total. We're getting that at plus numbers at plus 120. I really like what the side is doing. I know, as you guys have already talked about, there's been a lot of geopolitical tensions that have made this journey difficult for them. But Mehdi Taremi is uniting not only this whole squad, but this whole country around what this team is doing. I love him as a striker, and I love what this team is capable of doing. And most importantly for this bet, I don't really trust New Zealand's back line. I know they've got Tim Payne, who everyone loves. I know they got some big guys, but I'm worried about them keeping up with the pace of this Iran striker. So I do have them scoring 2 or more in this game. And then the tiebreaker. I know that Jermaine, you were on Chris Wood. Lahoud, you were on Mehdi Taremi. I'm going to have to join Lahoud on this one and take Taremi to score or assist again at plus 115. That's not to say Chris Wood won't get a goal, in this matchup, but I've got a personal bias here. I started with the CBS team in the 22-23 season. That's when he played for Porto, and that's the season where Taremi had 40 goal contributions in 47 games. He made me so much money. You can call it personal bias, whatever you want to call it. I love this man, and I think he's going to have a big match here today. And then third and final bet, more of the same for me. Again, I think Iran's the better team here. So let's go with them not only to score 2 in this match, but to put 1 away in the first half and open this scoring early. We're getting that at even money right now at plus 100. Doesn't really matter if Iran wins for my bets to hit, as long as they get 2 and snag 1 early. I'm feeling pretty good about this game and my little Spain bounce back on this big final match.
Love it, Buckets. Thanks so much. That's a good number for Mehdi Taremi to score or assist. You're in plus money with him. Everything goes through him for Iran, so that's a good number. Buckets, thanks so much.
Absolutely, guys.
All right, boys, we're coming down to a few minutes to kick off. What are your predictions for this match? Mike, let's start with you.
Yeah, I'm going to stick on this Mehdi Taremi train, and I'm going to throw a bet out at you. And I was looking it up. Good odds. Mehdi Taremi, 2 or more shots on target, plus 175. Against Michael Boxall, I think that's going to be a good matchup to watch. Jermaine, what you said about runs off the shoulder is going to be really, really important, but set pieces could define this game.
Yeah. Good for you. I'm going with Woods, and I'm going 2-1, and I tell him he scores 1, definitely.
2-1-4 For Iran or for New Zealand?
New Zealand.
For New Zealand,
I'll go for
okay.
New Zealand. Wow.
I like it. Picking the upset. You heard it here. Jermaine Jones picking the upset, picking New Zealand to win. We got Iran on the other side with Mike Lahoud. We have much more coverage coming up here on the Golazo Network of World Cup 2026, so make sure you stay tuned. Thanks for joining us.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon? When Jeff Probst